I woke up one night to a strange alert on my phone, a warning from my EV charging app that my car had stopped charging. I stumbled out to the driveway and froze. My cable was dangling loose and a gleaming white Tesla, not mine, sat hooked into my wall outlet. It was my neighbor's car, the HOA president herself, helping herself to my electricity like it was a community resource. And weeks later, that same woman tried to fine me through the HOA for illegal equipment on my property. What she didn't know was that by then, I had video data logs and even a police incident report that would ruin her in front of the entire neighborhood. My name's Ethan Miller. I'm an engineer, the kind of guy who likes systems to work and rules to be clear. My wife Maya and I bought a little duplex in a tidy neighborhood called Willow Glen. I installed my Level 2 EV charger. The right way permits inspections everything up to code. It was simple. My car charged at night. My bills matched what I used, and life had a certain rhythm. Until Karen Mitchell moved in. Karen was the HOA President Queen Bee of the cul-de-sac. She loved to talk about going green, loved to scold people about trash bins and lawn lengths, loved to lecture about community values. She also happened to drive the newer model Tesla, and apparently she decided that my charger was her personal backup plan. The first time it happened, I wanted to believe it was a mistake. She rolled her window down, looking at me like I was the crazy one. "Oh, Ethan, my charger's down. I've got an important meeting tomorrow. I figured you wouldn't mind, we're neighbors." I pointed at the cable, still trying to keep my cool. "That's my charger, Karen." "You didn't ask." She smirked. "No need to be hostile. We should help each other." Hostile. I was standing in my own driveway at 1 a.m. watching my HOA president steal power from my wall, and somehow I was the unreasonable one. I yanked the cable out, told her not to use it again, and walked away. But I knew it wasn't over. People like her don't stop because you ask nicely. The next morning, Maya stirred her coffee and said what I was already thinking. "You can't just let it go. If you do, she'll see it as weakness. She'll do it again." She was right. A simple lock wouldn't stop entitlement. I needed something smarter. That's when I called Larry, my friend and fellow tinkerer. We sketched out a plan on a greasy pizza box, a steel enclosure, a decoy padlock, a smart system inside. The charger would look normal, but any unauthorized user would only trick their car into thinking it was charging. In reality, all the power would divert to my home battery, and a Raspberry Pi would log everything time duration kilowatt hours. Cameras, too, with warning signs. It was airtight. And, honestly, petty. Exactly what I needed. The first night the trap was set, I sat in the dark with my laptop open, waiting. Sure enough, just after 1 a.m., motion alert. Karen crept out of her Tesla in yoga pants and a hoodie like some suburban ninja. She shined a flashlight on my warning signs, read them, paused, then smirked. Out came her lockpick tool. She popped the decoy padlock in seconds, proud of herself, opened the steel box and plugged in. On her dash, the light blinked green. She strutted back to her house like she'd just cracked Fort Knox. Meanwhile, my data log showed my home battery charging beautifully off the grid, not her car. I sat there grinning in the glow of my laptop. It worked. I had her. But I'll admit later that night I stared at the screen and wondered, am I the one crossing a line? Was I too obsessed? Too petty? Maya found me brooding. "You gave her a chance," she said gently. "You warned her. This isn't revenge. It's protection. She was my anchor. She reminded me who the real thief was. Still, a part of me wanted something bigger. Not just receipts, but a punchline. So we added one. Larry and I wired a buzzer and a harmless glitter puff. Non-damaging, just humiliating. A few nights later, Karen went through the same smug routine. Dummy, lock, steel box charger handle. She plugged in, smug as ever. 3 seconds later, the buzzer shrieked like a fire alarm, and a cloud of purple and silver glitter exploded straight down onto her. She yelped, dropped the handle, flailed as sparkles coated her pants. She looked around wild-eyed, half in shock, half in fury, and bolted back to her car. Maya and I were in the kitchen, doubled over, tears streaming down our faces. It was glorious. But the fun didn't last. 2 days later, there was a heavy knock at my garage door. I opened it to find Karen standing there, arms crossed, and beside her a massive guy in a tight polo, her brother-in-law, Rick. She introduced him with venom dripping off her words. "This is Rick. He has something to say about your little games." Rick loomed over me, all muscle and bad cologne. "So you're the guy harassing my sister-in-law, spraying her with crap. Take that box down. Forget this ever happened." My heart pounded, but I forced my voice steady. "She's been stealing from me. I've got proof." He sneered and stepped closer. "Listen, nerd. Take it down or you're gonna regret it." Then he shoved me hard enough to knock me back into my garage. That was his mistake, because Sarah was already on the phone inside, calmly giving our address to the police just like we'd planned if things ever got physical. I raised my hand, palm out. "Do not touch me again. You've assaulted me. You're trespassing. Leave." Rick faltered, not expecting legal language, not expecting the cops. Minutes later, the cruiser pulled up. The officer listened to my side, then to theirs. Rick admitted the shove. The officer wrote up a formal trespass warning. One more step on my property, he'd be arrested. As the cop handed Rick the paper, he muttered, "A glitter bomb, huh?" "That's a new one." I almost laughed. Almost. I thought maybe that would end it. But Karen didn't back down. Instead, she weaponized the HOA. A thick envelope arrived in the mail signed by her as president, notice of violation. According to her, my steel box was an unapproved structure. My warning signs were unauthorized signage and the buzzer was a public nuisance. I had 7 days to remove it all or face $100 daily fines and eventually a lien. That's when I realized this wasn't about charging anymore. This was about power. She couldn't beat me with theft or intimidation, so she was trying to bury me in bureaucracy. But she'd just given me the rope to hang her with. An official signed abuse of power. Now I had everything I needed. I went full engineer. I compiled every piece of evidence, videos of her stealing power, the stop work tag from her own illegal charger installation, the police incident report on Rick. The violation letter. I turned the data logs into neat charts with totals, kilowatt hours, dollar amounts. And the crown jewel, an audio clip my camera caught of her on the phone one night complaining, "It says it's charging, but my battery level's barely moving. It feels like you're sucking my Tesla dry." The irony was so perfect it felt scripted. She was the parasite whining about being drained. The annual HOA meeting was coming up, the one where she was running for re-election. Perfect stage. The clubhouse smelled like old coffee. 50 neighbors packed in folding chairs. Karen sat at the front table, queenly in her blazer, giving a speech about community unity and green leadership. I raised my hand. "I don't have a question," I said, my voice steady. "I have a presentation about ongoing theft and abuse of power by our HOA president." Gasps rippled. Karen's serene mask cracked for half a second. She snapped, "This is not the proper forum." "Oh, I have it in writing," I cut in, holding up her violation letter. "But I think everyone deserves to see the evidence." I set up my little projector, and then I pressed play. First, the video of her car plugged into my charger in the dead of night. Murmurs. Then, the clip of her picking the dummy lock, smug grin on her face. Gasps. The data charts, dates, time stolen, kilowatts. Nods, frowns. Then the glitter bomb video. The room erupted laughter, pointing neighbors slapping knees. Karen's face went red and white all at once. I wasn't done. I showed the clip of Rick shoving me, held up the police incident number. Silence fell heavy. Then the final slide. Audio of Karen's own voice, crystal clear. "It feels like you're sucking my Tesla dry." For a moment, dead silence. Then a single laugh from the back. Then another. Then the whole room roared with laughter, a tidal wave of it crashing over her. Her reputation, her power, her precious image, it shattered right there on that dingy clubhouse wall. The vote was immediate. Karen lost in a landslide. A retired teacher named Martha won. The board moved to rescind my violation notice censure. Karen, and even passed a new bylaw making it crystal clear. Using someone else's private charger without permission was theft, plain and simple. Karen sat slumped in her chair, pale and speechless. She didn't say another word, and I ended it there. Not with gloating, not with celebration, just with the truth on display, undeniable. Entitlement collapses fast when it meets evidence.